What's up, everybody? Richard Dolan here for a courageous conversation.
Well, man, today you're right. There's no going back.
How do you feel the weight of that desire?
I have been there for a while.
The story's still being written, and you cut the story short. As they say, I'm playing with house money.
They said, neo-fascist.
You can't imagine, Richard. I've heard everything now.
But I'll tell you what, you ain't never buying your time back. Value your time.
Nothing can humiliate me. I've already done that.
He said, you taught me there was more to life than pain, and that kind of opened the door for thousands and thousands of kids.
Like, you just show up no matter what. This is an opportunity to kind of delve into yourself and actually pull out what you might have in there.
It forced me to think about life after basketball.
And it's funny because people need to laugh.
You just pass it through, brother.
Once you start a courageous conversation, there ain't ever going back to an ordinary one.
I want to get started because I don't want to keep our guest of honor waiting. I mean, she's not only a delight. She's not only been a celebrity for many, but your friend on the screen. She has been best known as an actress, but for me, she's best known for the philanthropist, a soulful soldier who's out there leading a purposeful life. She's an incredible mother to a few, and I'll leave it to her to share who they are because that's not my place to do that. But when I first met Finola, I've got to tell you three little secrets. Number one is I was starstruck. I mean, because I know I watched her out of the corner of my eye when the TV was on and my grandmother was watching. My mother was keen and leaning in. And I mean, every single time I saw her on screen, I got to say I had a little bit of a smirk on because I had a little bit of a love on for all things Finola Hughes. Number two is that when we got a chance to get to know each other, she revealed to me that she is a feverish student for the betterment of self. She's a long life learner of how to get greater, how to get better, how to be stronger as a person, as a mother, as a leader. And that for me was really quite revealing. But third and most important is she's just getting started. I mean, if you've not gotten to know Finola personally, I've got to tell you that on her behalf, I've come to learn that she's just warming up. She's got her hands in production opportunities. I mean, great ventures and all the like, but not just in Hollywood, from around the world. And to share a little bit about where she's been, what she's up to, and where she's going, let's put our hands together and welcome Miss Finola Hughes, everybody. What's up, darling?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you. You look delightful. How you been?
I've been good, thank you. I yelled earlier. I was like, "Can you hear me? Can you hear?" But I was on the phone, and I forgot that I'd left my mic on. Anyway,
that's okay.
Sometimes it's like, "Yes, we can hear you."
Oh, good. Well, hey, listen. By the way, just as an aside, and not to open up a can of worms, but my heart goes out to Cash. I hope all is well and things are stable.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, listen, love you lots. Love that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, for all the folks who are dialing in from around the world who watch this after we are live, I mean, there's thousands of people who've been really stuck at home and are wondering, like, how do I stay connected to great people that inspire me, people I love and look up to? And you were at the top of the list of people I want to invite on this. So how have you been?
I've been okay. I've been all right. You know, I've kind of come to the conclusion that you honestly just have to accept everything that happens in life. And, it seems to me that a description of pain is not being able to accept things as they are. And so I've just kind of gone on with it and tried to find grace in all of it. And just, I'm here with 3 children. So there's a lot of cooking and there's a lot of organizing and tidying, so much cleaning. But I studied under a wonderful guru, Sadhguru out of South India. And he just would talk about service. And we sometimes forget that we immediately think, oh, service is to the greater community, but actually service is right there in your family. So when I was loading the dishwasher for the 50th time in like 3 days, it seemed like I just thought, okay, this is just service right now. And it's just service so that everybody gets clean plates and that's it. Rather than putting all this kind of, this is so hard. And it's really not. the people that are like, my brother is a doctor, and so those people and the people that are delivering our mail and working for us so that we can get groceries, those are all the people that are working hard, honestly.
Well, wow, if you're just joining us live, I know that we've got people in from all across Canada, throughout the States. We've got new friends in from Ireland, Scotland,
Ireland,
from the UK. I know you're loved by so many. So welcome, Jerry, Monica, David. Good to see you, Linda, Erica. If you're just joining us, we're joined with the talented Miss Finola Hughes. So good to see you. You talk about cooking. It sounds like you're the most talented short order cook the family's ever seen. So it sounds like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But it sounds like perspective. It sounds like from your mentor from South India, you've really learned to really take responsibility for the perspective that you're looking at the world through. Is that accurate to say?
Well, he's fantastic. He deals in logic. It's not, like, yes, I mean, it's about meditation, but it's more logic. It's just really just using your emotional IQ. Which I'm a big one for, I think we can all go to college and we can all be intelligent and learn wonderful things. But I think you have to have an emotional cue and an EQ. And it's something that I just try to instill in my children, that you just have to have some sort of rational thought about things. And then also something you mentioned, which is very cool about.
I've been guilty of being called cool once in a while, Finola, just letting you know.
Just on Tuesdays.
Just on Tuesdays.
But today's Friday, so anyway. But take it anyway. It's the self-actualizing. I think that a human doesn't feel as though a day is well spent unless you've figured out a way to just be better. Then, and that's just mentally. It doesn't mean, you exercise more. It doesn't mean you're better with calories or better, but just trying to figure out your journey, your inner journey. And I think if I leave this mortal coil, knowing myself, really, that's kind of a journey well spent.
Now, let me ask you something. In the time I've gotten to spend with you, I mean, you come across as someone, and I really experience you as someone who spent a lot of time discovering themselves and then rediscovering themselves. And once you discover yourself, you rediscover yourself.
Yeah.
Have you always been this way, dating back to the time that you got into acting?
I was like this as a kid. I used to write diaries. I wish I still wrote diaries, because I think they're the most extraordinary way to find out about yourself. Just writing, just like freehand. I don't mean I don't mean on your computer, but just really, because there's sort of a connection between yourself and your hand and your thoughts. And if you can find a way to even just find 10 minutes, I wish I could find 10 minutes, or just even the discipline to do it every day, just to write, vomit, just anything that's in your head, because you recognize something about yourself when you do that. And I think my dad was a real, both my parents were readers. And so in poetry, in especially, my dad was Irish, and so they're the most vociferous readers of literature and poetry. And it was just this kind of feeling that people that have gone before me have thought about this stuff already. So what can I glean from that? And then how do I contribute to that as my story? So perhaps in writing diaries is a way to do it. And I know this is a very peculiar time for us, because this is a change. Nothing will ever be the same after this. And I think that we can take this opportunity, as much as we find it thwarting, like it's in a way, and concerning. There's something about this change which is uncertain. A lot is uncertain. And there's a quote, actually, which I asked my friend to send it to me. And I really love this. And it's: the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably deal with. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably deal with. I thought about this a lot, and then I thought about the opposite of it, which is certainty. And actually, what are we ever certain of? The only thing I'm certain of is that is something that's happened, and perhaps something that I can prepare for, or, you know, like even in giving performances, I have no certainty that it's going to resonate with anybody. And so I think there's something to learn from those two words, certainty and uncertainty, and where we are right now. And we're kind of slap dab in the middle of uncertainty, and how comfortable we can be with that, how we can find a positive spin on everything, how we can cope with it, I think is how well that, you know, is how we can find something deeper in this situation that we're all in.
I love it. I love what you just said, and you just took it deep, and I love that about you. You know, when you think about the conversation around certainty, it's the one thing, the one of many things that this crisis at hand and the rising tide of uncertainty has robbed mankind of, is because we just, in fact, relish in comfort and knowing that we can always trust that tomorrow will always arrive, and paychecks will be there, and food will be on store shelves, and toilet paper will be plentiful. But when you really look at what you're truly certain about, what I love about what you've just said is it gives rise to the conversation, I think, for a lot of us, and many of which are just joining us live in here with Finola Hughes. In case you're just joining us from all the way around Australia, we've got Helen in from Australia and others. Is that, you know, you've got this challenge where we've never been with just ourselves and on our own, and with much of the world in darkness, so to speak, to really reflect and to review and take account. Have you discovered something new about yourself during this time?
Yes, and I don't like it. Yes.
Are you going to share what it is?
Sure.
Okay.
And it's really interesting, well, to me anyway, because obviously I just got asked this question, but you might find that it resonates with some of you as well. Like the things that we brush aside and we keep going, like we keep going in the morning, we get up, we have certain appointments that we have to be with, and we have to get there. And I learned that very early on in this whole lockdown that I had no structure. And so my dog is right here. He's dreaming. And so if you hear little whimpers, and he's dreaming, it's nice. Is that I had to figure out a structure. So I started a writing course, and I just started a sort of yoga class. So I've been doing that every morning. And obviously my children give me structure because they have to be fed. They have to get online for classes. And then the writing structure, like, you know, it was 2-hour class every day. And then I felt better. Then I felt like I had a sort of, there was a path. But what I discovered was that also that even structure is a distraction from things that I might really have to do, like completely go through all of the kids' clothes and my clothes, get rid of all, like there's things that you just step over. So I really started to analyze that, and what is it that I'm not doing that would set me free? Like I just got it done.
Well, what's amazing is that I'm sensing in you, because of many things I've come to learn of you. You're a very accomplished actor. You're always looking for a challenge. Not just any actor would take some of the challenges on that I've come to learn of you, and none of which I'm going to share with these folks, unless you chose to share them, of course, because then I have to share how I found out about those things. So we'll leave that between you and I. But that being said, do you find that during this time that you were very accomplishment oriented? Do you feel like you were someone that needed to get something done, or was it that structure was most important to you so that you had some sense of context for a day?
I think it's both. You know, I'm extremely fortunate in that sort of 10 minutes from here, there's a beach, which they haven't found, and they haven't closed it down because it's sort of a local beach. And so yesterday, because you know, Richard knows sort of what's with my middle son, if he, you know, that he's not so well right now. And so I was here all day with everybody and taking care of him, and it was like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I was like, I have to get out. And I went down to the beach. I ran just really fast. I took the car and I went down to the beach, and I just lay on the beach. There was nobody there, and I just lay there and just let the air kind of go over me. And I walked into the ocean, and I thought, if we can learn anything from this time that we've been given, we'll never get this kind of time. We'll never get this time where nothing else is going on in the world, almost, where we can reflect, because you have to reflect on your life. A life unexamined is just, we're just going by the numbers. And so I just thought, you know, it just kind of made me, you know, that thing when you were a kid, like you would go, oh, this is me now, this is real, this is the world, look how amazing. If you can find those moments just to do that. And I know I'm sorely remiss of doing that over the past however many years, just because life goes so fast, but life has kind of stopped a bit. And I don't know if that's answering your question, but I do think it's structure, and I think it's also that I feel I have lived a day, like actually lived a day, you know, and because every moment, you know, it's just, you never get these moments back. They're just, it's the whole experience of being alive is extraordinary. And I don't know, I mean, if there's some way that we can not take it in cerebrally, but if we can just breathe it in, like just really breathe it in.
I think that's why when you talk a bit about the diarization of your day, being able to, you know, recognize something about yourself, just the act of doing so 10 minutes per day gives you an opportunity to kind of just pause, check in, reflect, review, observe, and then memorialize just what it is that's most memorable about the day. And it doesn't have to be about an accomplishment. It doesn't have to be about some target achieved. It doesn't have to be about something that you've dominated. It could simply be about that moment you left your home at around 6 o'clock to go to that beach that no one's discovered, and you first felt the wind hit your face, and knowing that in that moment you were alive. Yeah. And so what I love about that is it sounds like you're always seeking opportunities to be present and to rejoice and to be appreciative and grateful for just time itself and what it represents for you. Would that be accurate?
Well, there's the word right there, grateful. I mean, gratitude is I think it's what one, if one could do anything right, it would be to lead with that. Just like lead with that, like literally, you know.
Look right there. But I don't know if you all noticed that. Put it in the chat room if you noticed what I just noticed. Right in that moment, the moment I said gratitude, it looked to me that Finola got grateful. And when you're grateful in that moment, it just becomes you. It really, really does. And there's a joy about that. Y'all see that? Lit up with appreciation.
Yeah, it's the best.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, if you're just joining us, folks, from around the world, even those who are going to join us through the recording, this is Finola Hughes joining us live all the way from her home in beautiful Los Angeles. It's so good to have you here, dear. I know that being here is a very huge effort for you, given the needs of the kids and the crisis at home. So grateful for your time. Hey, look, we got lots of folks who are just private messaging me. You can't see it, I can. That are dying to ask you questions, who are just wanting to share with you their thoughts, or perhaps even just say hello to you. Are you open to that over the coming minutes? Uh-oh, did I lose her? She may have been frozen. I may have lost. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, it all froze.
That's okay. That's okay.
You mean?
Yeah, the Labrador is absorbing all the Wi-Fi bandwidth during the dream session. That's okay. So, hey, look, folks, if you've got a question for Finola, by all means, I'm going to be opening up the line shortly. You just want to raise your hand so I know that you're in the queue, just to even either say hello, share your appreciation, ask her a question, or perhaps contest her with a thought. But hey, back to you, Finola. You know, as I look out on the horizon, given the path, we have got to look back before we appreciate what's ahead for you. Tell me, what's the brightest moment for you? And I know this may be a tough one, but the brightest moment for you in your acting career, given the many roles that you've played and the many incredible franchises you were a part of?
Well, I've got lots, I think.
No, you do. I want you to choose one, if you have a bright.
Well, look, I really like to laugh. I think humor is unbelievably important to me. It just, if anybody can make me laugh, they're a friend for life. My oldest son is a very funny person, and I spend a lot of time just laughing with him. But I got an opportunity to.
Well, that's better than laughing at him.
Yeah. Oh. We laugh at each other. I got an opportunity to work with Tracy Ullman one time on Tracy Takes On, and I was playing a ballroom dancer to her flight attendant, her male flight attendant. And I spent a week with her and her company, and we literally laughed from 9 a.m. in the morning till we went home at night, like laughed. And the end result was great. But I just feel like that experience of a production where making each other laugh and being comfortable like that, it was just a fantastic experience. And I have to say, wherever I go, like, you know, with actors can goof off a lot. And actors are very smart. They're very smart in a kind of emotional way and reading people. So you spend a lot of time making each other laugh, you know, often at other people's expense, but often not cruelly, just fun, you know. So
well, if that's an apology, just so you know, from last I saw you, I'll take it, I'll accept it. So I'm totally kidding. You know, given that, and I know that there's so much great things about your past, and I know that there's a number of people that have got their hands up, so I'll get to them in a moment. But tell me, what's got your attention now as you look at a life post-COVID and all things crisis? Tell us a little bit about some of the projects or some of the things that you're interested about most that's really got your heartstrings being pulled. Last I spoke to you, there was a production under the works that you were really excited about. Tell me, what's the lay of the land for Finola Hughes on the horizon?
Well, there's a couple of things that I'm sort of working on from grassroots, and we're sort of developing it ourselves because, you know, none of the major studios can open, of course. So you've got to figure out how you get creative within your friends group. And I urge you all to do that if you're creative at all, just to try to pull all your friends in and see what you can put together. The other thing is, you know, I work with Art of Elysium, and we used to be able to take a program in every day to children that are long-term patients, but we can't do that now, obviously. And so we are creating, my friend who runs it, Jennifer Howell, is creating an online thing that we'll get going very, very, very soon. And so that's an artist's kind of enclave to help children in long-term hospitalization. And then, you know, my soap group has been very involved with Feeding America. And because it always just boggles my mind, even before COVID, that there's such hunger in this country. And I know a lot of you are in Canada, which I love Canada, by the way. I've spent a lot of time there because most actors end up going to Vancouver for long periods of time, or Toronto. So I've been to Vancouver, Toronto, Whistler, which is my favorite place, and Montreal, which is incredible. So anyway, and I do speak a little French, so I sort of get by. Yeah, and then writing. And just, this is an opportunity to kind of delve into yourself and actually pull out what you might have in there, and just bring it all out, even if you think it's terrible, because eventually it'll get good. Once you, because I wrote a book one time, and I remember thinking to myself that until you've been writing for 4 hours, nothing comes out. Everything is awful until you're at least 4 hours in. So.
Well, that's what I heard, and that's what they said. But anyways, it's a Friday afternoon. I could have gone there, but I'm not gonna. But anyways, listen, folks, if you're just joining us, we're here with Finola Hughes. I know right here we've got a number of questions lined up. So why don't we just open up the line? We got Erica here. What's up, Erica? How you doing, girl?
Guys, hey Finola, thank you so much for coming on here. It's been a wonderful talk so far.
Thank you.
One of my daughters is actually a student at AADA, and they're in LA. And what advice would you have for her? She's 18, she'll be 19 this year. What advice would you have for her starting her hopeful career in dramatic arts?
Yeah, that's a lovely school, by the way. That's a lovely school. You know, I think always know that there's a technique to acting, and I think you can spend as much time as you want learning it and reading about it. But I would urge anyone who's doing that to just, you might as well have confidence. Just have confidence in what you're doing, because in the end, that's sort of what separates you, is just your own belief in yourself, and just the ability to be able to concentrate and block everything else out, because you're not going to be able to perform unless you can do that. But that's really exciting. That's a great school.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll be able to, they obviously had to close a little early this year, and I don't know what they're going to do, but she'll be starting her second year in the fall. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
You're so beautiful. You just glow.
Thanks. I did wash my face today.
That's so funny. Thanks, Erica. Good to hear your voice, and congratulations to your daughter. Well done. I had a question here from someone who said, "Hey, Rich, do you mind asking this question of Finola, if you don't mind?" I said, and so of course I'm saying no problem. I'm a big fan of Staying Alive. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And if I, in fact, asked my friends and/or polled my family, they would agree. Please ask, is that one of her greatest experiences of all time on the silver screen? So what would you say to that, Finola?
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. It was my first time in America. And, you know, I came over and I was working with John Travolta, and who is a total sweetheart. And, yeah, you know, it was a dream come true. It really was, because I always wanted to dance with American dancers. Even when I was young, I thought that's where I want to go, because there's a certain attack that American dancers had that in my mind I really wanted to be involved with. So it was a dream come true. Yeah, for sure.
Hold on a second. I'm just looking at one more here. It says, given your experience in the world of acting and now hearing for the first time that you're a writer, do you have aspirations, goals, or an outcome that you have in mind for writing? So I guess that question would have something to do with just like, you know, are you picking it up because it's some sort of a new hobby, or is it, do you have aspirations in being a writer?
No, I don't think I'll be a writer, but because I'm not really, but I have ideas. And so kind of what I do is I put down all these ideas, and then I usually work with a writer. For example, right at the beginning of this lockdown, I had come up with an idea and I just spoke to a writer. And so we've started to flesh it out. And another producer, something that I wrote 3 years ago, she's taken this. So it's not, you know, none of it's ever going to really meet the public's eye, but the ideas probably will, because I think the ideas are solid, but I don't believe I have the talent or expertise to really bring it to fruition. But everything is collaborative. Like in this profession, everything is collaborative. Even if I was, like, say, a writer, I would still be working with another writer, because you get a much more rounded product with that.
Absolutely. Speaking of round products, I know there's a gentleman here named Ken. Hey, Ken, why don't you unmute yourself?
Wait a minute.
No, not that round. He's quite round, a bit more of a torpedo. But hey, Ken, why don't you unmute yourself and ask Miss Finola Hughes your question?
Hi, Finola. Thanks for being here and letting us have a piece of you. It's phenomenal to hear you speak, and it's touching. So one of the things that for me is, how would you sort of define your parenting style with your kids, given all the projects that you're involved in? Right, like how do you manage all of that?
Well, I do have a philosophy, and the philosophy is that I don't know if it works, but I allow kids to see their own mistakes. I sort of step back and allow them to experience their own mistakes. For example, I will go in the evening and say, it's time to go to bed now, to the younger ones. Like, I have a 19-year-old. I'm not going to tell him what to do, but the 16 and the 12-year-old, he's 15. I'll just sort of say, it's time to go to bed. And then I'll sort of add, you have to be up at 6 or you have to be up at 8. And then if they don't go to bed and they don't wake up in the morning, I kind of let them deal with how that works out for them. And they sort of quickly learn that, the day just gets screwed, and and for now in particular, like, they have to be online at 8:30. And so I will go and just knock on the door and say, it's 8:15. And then I leave it, because they'll either reprimand me for bothering them. So I just, it's sort of, in a way, it's, you kind of get out of their hair, but you allow them a little bit of autonomy. I'm not saying it works all the time, but I flirt with those kind of ideas, and and dinner can get cold on the table if they don't come, and then it gets cleared away. And so I try to work in those kind of boundaries, so that they, in a way, that they raise themselves a little bit, because otherwise they can't do laundry at all.
Oh yes, we can. There's always a place for dish detergent in a place of a laundry room. Come on now.
I swear, I've done more laundry. I'm like, can you not? It's just, anyway, the laundry situation.
Well, us boys must go through lots of things. Hey, Ken, good question. Thank you so much. I apologize for
answered it, Ken. I don't know if it answered it.
Yeah, no, it's great, because you're allowing them the freedom to make a choice, and then and then look at the result of that choice. So you're giving them that sort of space to really capture that. So that's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good job, Ken. Thank you so much. Who's not round but might look like or resemble a torpedo, admittingly.
He looks as though he's in front of a really nice red curtain, like a velvet curtain to a theater.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be a stage. It was really meant to set the stage for you, but it didn't work out that well. It looks good for me, though.
It does.
He's being modest. That's his bedroom, everybody. That's his bedroom. Wow. That's where his best performances are, he says. But anyways, I digress. That being said, hey, listen, we've got Kevin Honeycutt, one of my favorite cats, up here. Hey, he's got a question. Hey, Kevin, why don't you unmute yourself and just ask Finola yourself your great question.
Hey, Finola, thanks for being here and participating and sharing what you're sharing. It's great to hear other people's perspectives. My question for you is, knowing what you know now about life, what would you do differently with your profession if you had it to do over again?
I just have more confidence. Just go for it more.
Take more risk?
Yeah, take more risk and do everything. Like, I think when I look back, it's the times that I said no. And if I analyze the times I said no, it was out of fear.
Can you share something like that? Like, what is an opportunity that you didn't take advantage of that you wish you did have?
Oh, for example, there was a Harvey Keitel movie, and it was called Bad Lieutenant. And it's a great film, but it's really dark, and it's really like the roles were really dark, and I was scared. And it's not that it would have changed anything. I mean, it would just have been a different experience. And I look at that, and you know, it would have been amazing to work with Harvey Keitel. That would have been the win. But I was scared of the piece. But really, it would have just been an experience, and now it wouldn't matter. But I was super young, and so yeah, so that's where fear gets in the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, amazing. You know, as we go about to the next question from Jennifer Moore, so you're going to mute yourself momentarily. But I mean, it sounds a lot more like there's a lot of self-acceptance in the way you are right now, Finola. I hear a lot of like, trust yourself, trust your view, trust your ability, put it out there. Don't worry about the judgment, self-assessment, self-judgment, and just give it all you've got, and trust that the confidence will come after doing what comes next. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Hey, Jennifer Moore, I know you've got a lovely question for Finola. Why don't you go ahead if you can unmute yourself?
Hello. My question was, what role dance now plays in your life? I noticed on Twitter you say you're an ex-dancer, and how do you see dance in your life now?
Well, oddly, I have to say that in this whole lockdown, that's the one thing I've discovered. I went back to dance because I had time, and it's just been really fun. I've got a couple of things that I've choreographed that I'll probably stick up on Instagram in the next 2 weeks or the next week. And then one of the things that I'm doing with the Art of Elysium, I'm going to deal with dance as well for movement, you know, because dance doesn't have to be your whole body. And so I just the accessibility to be able to interpret music. I think it's very interesting to see how people have coped with this, you know, being in lockdown. They've turned to dance a lot. And it's something, you know, that Tony Robbins always does at the beginning of his, you know, his weekends, is that he gets people moving, because it changes you viscerally change, and you become happier when you move your body. Boom, that's it. Nobody can argue with that. If we can be certain about anything, we could be certain about that. So it's made me a lot happier to just sort of go back to my roots in a way.
You know, you gave me an idea. Maybe we should have like some sort of a dance-off, like a minute or two at some point during these courageous conversations with beautiful minds and people like Finola Hughes, who here by show of hands would actually, in fact, have yeah, I see some.
No.
Oh, that was a great question. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Good to hear your voice, and good to see you, my dear. I hope you're safe and I hope you're well. Hey, listen, I know there's a question that came in just now that I thought was very fascinating. But Joe, why don't you ask it? And Joe is also known as Batman. It's an inside joke, but Joe, good to see you, buddy.
Oh, unmute yourself. Yeah.
There you go, buddy. I got you.
Thank you very much, Richard. By the way, I just got to say right now on this Friday afternoon, beautiful anywhere, I just want to say everybody on this call, thank you for the energy. It's been such a great call, and honestly, like some great people, some great questions. I just wanted to ask you, could you give us any kind of takeaway that you got from studying under Sadhguru that we can employ into our everyday lives, please? Like, what impacted you the most that you would like to please play forward? Thank you. Thank you, Richard, for this.
You're welcome, Joe.
This is one of the things that that really resonated with me. He's so logical, and you know, like, sort of every day is a gift. I mean, he really harps on that, but he has really good, strong lessons. Like, for example, resentment is resentment. I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but something like resentment is a poison you take yourself hoping to kill someone else. which I just loved. It was just so funny. And he has a lot of like tough, I wish I could just pull up, like every day he puts out words of wisdom, they're called. And his words, you should actually just go find him. It's Isha, ISHA Institute and Isha Foundation. And it's Satguru. And he just puts out words of wisdom every day. And they're so good. They're just things that, you know, and they'll either be about the day or about the climate or about what's happening, or it'll just be something he's thinking about. But I would say logic, and I would say treasuring the people that you have in your life, and just treasuring everything and every minute. Like he really talks about the minutes. And I think that, sometimes I get so caught up in the now that things can fall away, you know, like planning and getting things done, but, you know, it all worked out.
Well done, Finola, and thank you for the question, Joe. And I mean, for Monica Kovacs, one of our dear friends, she's already put in the link there that Finola just referenced. So if you're interested, keen, and wanting to learn more, you can go on in there and take a look and click on what you've got. But what resonates with me, before I get to the couple more questions that we've got, Finola, is that, you know, everyone's got to find someone worth being inspired by.
Oh, yes.
We all have got to find someone. And I mean, at the end of the day, for me personally, I'm a facilitator. You know, I love Finola, but I love to share Finola. And by the way, admittingly, this is the first time we've ever done this before together. So and now that we're doing it, I see, gosh, why haven't we done this more often? But but all kidding aside, I mean, it really is all about the hand that gives gathers. And so when you're finding great points of focus and or sources of inspiration or things that get you through the day, you should share with others, just like Finola shared with you. So you all should really just pay that forward and talk to your friends, connect with your family, call your mother, reach out to your dad, your uncle, your brothers, even the in-laws, the ones you've been avoiding and not wanting to see for some time, and saying, hey, saw Finola Hughes on Friday during a really wonderful, courageous conversation. Check this out. And you'll be amazed at the difference you'll make. So thank you for that and sharing it, Finola. Hey, listen, I know that Matt Soltis is here, all the way in from the UK, dialing in at a very strange time of the day. But hey, Matt, why don't you unmute yourself and say hello to Finola?
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for being here, Finola. And yeah, cheers, Richie, for putting this together too. I loved what you just said. The hand that gives gathers the most. And yeah, I think that's totally apt for the energy this evening. What I wanted to ask Finola was, how did you manage the emotional load of a career in the acting world with bringing up a family? Because I can imagine getting into the character of specific movies, specific films that you've been involved with, it must have taken really such an emotional intensity to embody that energy. Were there any particular times you recall that were maybe challenging or most fulfilling to you?
Yeah, you know, oddly enough, the most dramatic things I've done have been on the soap, General Hospital. I think that's where there's a lot of gnashing of teeth, because they really deal with emotions from, you know, A to Z.
Yeah.
And you
in a compressed time, can I just interrupt you for a moment, Finola? Like in a compressed time, is that accurate by saying too?
Sorry?
In a compressed time as well.
Oh, yeah. It's so compressed. Like we literally have two goes at it. We have one rehearsal and one take, and we have to get it. You have time to rehearse downstairs, but it's very, very rushed. If that's what you mean, Richie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you mean, Richie. Yeah. So it does go very fast.
That's what happens when you live near the beach, right, folks?
That's it.
I don't know if it's NCI or if it was none of those other. I had to have lost my teenage daughter.
Now, we may have just outright lost her there for a moment. Is it me or did we lose her? Joe, did we lose her?
I'm
Matt?
back. I'm
Oh.
back.
So what you
I
just
can't-
shared, by the way, Finola, was remarkable, but I don't want to do it any injustice. If you don't mind repeating it, because you said some really important things that tugged at my strings, attached to my heart. So if you don't mind repeating that, your signal went out a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, my signal did go out. It just bleached. It's back. Hang on, my internet connection.
Well, while you're figuring out, here's what I'll say. And by the way, what I meant, just for everyone else, is what I said by compressed time, is that time in the world of a soap opera is like, well, every single 10 or 50 minutes could represent a day or two or a week. So they're manufacturing emotions and this journey that's happening within the hour in which you're watching it. You all get that? In addition to the fact that these folks are in fact performing inside of literally minutes between one take and one rehearsal. So I think we got Finola back. I was buying some.
Yeah, I'm back. I am.
Lovely. Go ahead.
It's funny. I feel like I'm being teleported, like Star Trek. You know, I don't really exist. Do any of us? I don't know.
And we don't.
Yeah, and when we get so wrapped up in things. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, it was a moment where it was an NCIS or one of those, shows. I'm umming and ahhing, and the character's daughter had been murdered, and she and her husband, who was another actor that I actually knew, had to go and identify the body. And when you shoot, when you shoot single camera, nighttime, it takes a long time to shoot like one side and then the other side. And I had to stay in that kind of pain for the whole day, which is, that's what you're asked of as an actor. That's what is expected of you. But I do remember meditating a fair amount in my room, my dressing room. And I do remember thinking, and holding off those thoughts because it was heavy. And yeah, so you do have to sort of delve into those thoughts, but I have a good ability to get out of it. I think because Kevin Bacon once said this, and I really, really love it. He said, "I'll never do anything great because I like to be happy too much." And that's not true because he's gone on to do some amazing things. But I do like to be happy much more than I like to be in pain, I think, like everybody. So it doesn't take me long to get out of that. So, and then I get home to the kids and then it's all back to normal. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, amazing. No, thanks so much, because I just know how taxing it must be at times. And I think that's a beautiful illustration. So thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you so much, Matt, from over the pond and in the UK.
Yeah.
I'd love to you and the people of London. So good to see you. I think we've got time for just maybe two more, and I've got them already in the queue. So Naran, why don't you go on in there and say hello to Finola Hughes.
Hello, Finola. It is such a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, I'm the man in the hat, just like yourself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see you, Naran. Yes. Yeah. Hi.
We hat people have to stick together. I am just so impressed by the level. I can't believe I'm speaking to Laura from Staying Alive.
Oh, was that her name?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, it was Laura, yeah.
It was. But you have accomplished so much in your acting career. My question is, what's next for you? And I don't mean in the sense of what do you want to get done. I mean, we won't. You're among friends here. We'll keep it to ourselves. What I want to know is, what are you aching to create?
Well, I've been directing a fair amount, which has been phenomenal, and I think it's what makes me the happiest now in my career. I think, are you talking about professionally, or are you talking about like in my life or in my home?
In your life. I'm interested in you.
Oh, in my life?
In your life.
Honestly, and I don't mean this to sound too altruistic or anything ridiculous like that, but not, you know, altruistic is not ridiculous, obviously, but I don't want it just to, it's not like just for the sake of saying this, but I honestly want these 3 children that I have to get a really good sense of themselves. I can see it happening in my 19-year-old, and I just see how specific you have to be in trying to not shape, because you can't really shape another person, you can only control yourself, but how you can help aid another person, either by example or by certain lessons, how you can help them get that kind of gray matter that they really need in order to have a logical life, in order to have a fulfilling life where you see and understand your gifts and the beauty of it, and try to make a difference. You know, I always get them involved in charity work and just getting out of themselves, you know, because they're growing up in America. So I really think that that's the forefront of what I want to do. And that could be by just getting my own stuff together and just, you know, by example, I suppose. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you so much, because you show up as somebody who is extremely authentic. And when you tell me that you want to create that authenticity in your kids, it's the very same thing that you have been speaking to us about yourself.
Okay.
Right? So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Gosh, I feel left out. I should put on a hat and find myself a real cool Stetson or a Panama or something.
Well, yeah, this is just because my hair's a mess, and it's you know.
Listen, I have a hat right here. I put this hat on because most people don't know, Finola, that I put it on because I have intense hat head first thing in the morning. So I put it on, flatten the head, and then I take it off, and presto. Look at that. Perfect. That's it. Hey, listen, I thought I would reserve the very last word from not only one of our followers here who's listening in, as we have our closing moments with Finola Hughes. She's got a family to tend to, likely a meal to prepare, and a son to chase down by the beachfront. But I'm going to leave the last word to Dallas Chavez, who I understand is a really big fan and would love to say hello. So why don't you unmute yourself, Dallas, and just do that.
Hi, Finola.
Hi. Hey, Dallas. Great name.
Thank you. Your name's pretty too. I wanted to not pass up this opportunity. I grew up actually watching Staying Alive like every night. My mom loved the movie, so I was like, oh, I'll watch it with her. And it's actually why, you know, I started dancing, was because I was so intrigued, and I was like, oh, dancing. And one thing about that I learned from that video, or from that movie in general, is just, you know, the perseverance and the drive that it takes, not only in dance, but also the drive that it takes to just live everyday life. And so I wanted to thank you just for that moment, because you were a huge part of my childhood and a huge part of, you know, who I've become today as well. So I wanted to thank you.
Not at all. Thank you.
That's so. And by the way, you both color coordinated for one another. I just want to point that out.
That's right.
That's right. It was all purple. It was all intentional. Well, hey, listen, you know, from the very top, you know, Finola, you've shared so much of you, and we're so grateful for that. You talked a bit about emotional intelligence, understanding that your relationship to things is really shaped by the perspective in which you, provide it. And this is a time for self-actualization, reflection, and perhaps a time to, in fact, diarize exactly what's going on in your day-to-day. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be poetic, but it has to be true, so that you can, in fact, discover or recognize something different about yourself. You went on to talk about how your relationship to certainty or uncertainty, neither is important, because the most important part is to feel alive, especially during these times where you have more time than ever before. And during that time, you've come to learn that there's a magic and power in writing, in relating, in cooking and cleaning and all the other wonderful things that comes with you being the woman you are, the mother that you're relied upon. But most of all, and I think best of all, is that you've got to just laugh. You've got to laugh, because inside of that, you find your humanity and you find the fuel that lights the flame that makes us, well, alive again. And I hope I captured all of it. Would you not agree there, Finola?
You'll have to send that to me, because I can't believe I said that. I was like, Billy, did I say that?
Well, and by the way, you said much more. So on behalf of the entire group here, people who are watching live from around the world, as we already know it, and those who are going to be watching this by way of recording, folks, why don't you put some love in the chat room there so Finola knows that you made a difference, that she's made a difference, that it really, in fact, touched you in some way, shape, or form. But more importantly, that you're really glad that you had the chance to connect with Finola Hughes, who's not just an actress, not just a celebrity, but a mother, a beautiful woman, and an incredible soul. So look at that there, Finola. Lots of love from all over, even down the street from you in Beverly Hills. Look at that.
Oh, thank you.
So listen, Finola, from my heart to your ears, I want to just thank you on behalf of everybody for being here. I go out there and reach people who I admire, I respect, and more importantly, I love, to come on in and inspire people just like those who are here, both live and through recording. So thank you so much for being here, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody. I hope you all stay safe and be well.
Well, fantastic. Well, listen, I'm going to continue praying for Cash. I know he'll be just fine. But I know that as a mama cub, mama bear rather, to the baby cub, he ain't fine until he's fine. So we'll all pull through for him. We want you to know that we love you. We're grateful for you, and for each and every one of you, from my home to yours. We've been joined by Finola Hughes, a dear friend, and I love her to death, and I'm so grateful that she was here. So folks, go have yourselves a wonderful weekend.